today's training that I want to lead you through is going to be a little bit different. And I think it's because of where we find ourselves potentially in the world, but also where we might be finding ourselves in different life stages. As you know, for me, we just welcomed another baby. So I'm kind of in this cocooning stage with my family where I just kind of want to figure out our new flow. But maybe you are in a different season of life. Maybe you're going towards retirement. Maybe you're starting a new career. Maybe you're navigating family challenges. Maybe you're caring for parents or elderly. Maybe you're caring for children. I think that we all find ourselves in a unique situation. So first things first, whenever I approach a new year, there is just something so amazing to me about a fresh start. It feels like if you were on Willy Wonka and you got life's golden ticket, like Brendon talks about life's golden ticket, and you're kind of given this clean slate. And I walked into this new year as a postpartum mom, and we also got COVID. And so right away, initially going into this year, I was like, I could feel derailed within day 7 of 2022 if I allowed it. But when I was thinking about this training and thinking about how I would approach winning the new year, I really had to think about digestible chunks. I need to break things down into smaller sections for me. So if for you, when it comes to looking at this year at a glance, you're feeling overwhelmed by how we're going to tackle the next 365 days, or if at this point, 343 days, whatever we're at, if that feels overwhelming, I want to invite you into a practice that I've started doing. So for me, because of my life with my children, it's really hard for me to be able to even know what next month is going to look like, yet alone what next year will look like. And so when I started thinking about this year, the first thing that I wanted to decide on was a central theme. So how many of you guys have heard people choosing a word for their year? Now, this is a practice that a lot of people do. A lot of people show it. They share their word of the year. Maybe it's for accountability. Maybe it's just to put it out there. And for the last few years, I've chosen different words for the year. Now, it sounds like kind of a weird woo-woo type practice, but what I have found is that it almost lays a foundation for your year so that when you are setting goals or making decisions or navigating different scenarios, you can always come back to that home base. So for example, a few years ago, my word was surrender. We were in our fertility process and just trying to figure out what is this going to look like. And I needed to choose the word surrender. I needed to just surrender to what was going to be. The year after that, we successfully and thankfully had our baby girl, Coco. My word was presence. I just wanted to be where my feet were. I'm still trying to land on my word for this year, but I think it's something along the lines of intuition. I need to follow my gut, to trust my gut. So when you think about the year, I really think it is helpful to choose a theme. This is going to be your foundation. This is going to be that place where you go, is this aligned with surrendering? Is this aligned with presence? Is this respecting my goal for trusting my intuition or my gut? And the thing that I also want to note is if you had a word of the year for last year and you felt like maybe you got derailed or it wasn't a success or you didn't quite win it, carry that word forward. That word can still serve you and serve as that base. There's no need to change it if that word is still working. So what I want for you to think about is how can we create a foundation, lay a foundation that has a feeling. So when I look at a lot of people and their goal setting practices, it's beautiful. They have these tactical things that they want to achieve within the next year. But a lot of times they don't actually think about how is this going to feel? How is this goal going to feel when I accomplish it? How is the pursuit of this goal going to feel? And what I found is that having that theme or that word, it gives me that feeling to really check myself and my alignment. Now, I want to share something that I am working on this year. I haven't shared it publicly anywhere, but it's something that I have recognized in myself as I've kind of evaluated last year moving into this year, is that I am actually aiming for more gray areas in my life. And let me explain this. I am an all or nothing kind of gal. I am either all in, gung-ho, full force, show me what I need to do and I'll do it, or I'm a nothing. And I've recognized over the last year that as I set goals, I tend to be very extreme. I don't know if anyone else resonates with this, but I am like, I am all in. I will not eat any sugar for 30 days and blah, 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 blah. And then the second I fall off, I'm a nothing. And so what I am trying for as an achiever, as someone who is striving to grow, to learn, to move, to navigate, is that I am aiming for more gray areas this year. And maybe that gives you a little bit of peace. Maybe that gives you anxiety, depending on where you fall on this spectrum. For me, I want to find more fluidity in my year. I want to find more room for grace, like Glo was talking about, but also just recognize that when it comes to things that maybe served me in the past, like certain boundaries or relationships, that I can find that area of gray that allows me to continue to strive to do better, but also doesn't derail me the second I fall off. I recently was on a phone call with a dietitian because one of my goals for this year is to feel vibrant. It's not to lose 10 pounds or to get back to my pre-baby weight or anything like that. It's to feel vibrant. And I was on the phone with a dietitian and I said something about Cheetos and I was like, oh, I love Cheetos. Like me and Coco, we can smash a bag of Cheetos. And I was saying how it wasn't a good food. And she goes, I don't want for you to look at things as good or bad. I want for you to think of things as optimal or less optimal. You have a less optimal snack, that's okay. Move on to an optimal one. Make a choice instead of looking at things as bad or good. And it really helped for me to think about, how do I want to ground myself in gray this year, in that I can continue to progress, but I'm not going to beat myself up or freeze the second that I stop or mess up. And so I want for you to just think about what that looks like for you. And that brings me to my next point. One of the things that I think we often fail at when it looks at goal setting or attacking a new year or setting resolutions is that we don't do it from a place of self-awareness. Now, I know a lot of things about you simply by you being here today, by joining this platform. You know that you want to grow. You know that you're willing to invest in personal development. You know that you need mentors. You know that you want to pour into yourself to move forward. But what I have found is that when we lack self-awareness, when we lack truly knowing ourselves, we create goals that don't serve us or our lives, but we also approach them in a way that makes it nearly impossible for us to follow through. So when I was thinking about setting goals for this year, I did it from this place of self-awareness. So my awareness was grounded in the fact that a lot of us are merely exhausted. We are 2+ years into a world that constantly is changing and shifting. We don't necessarily feel grounded in knowing what is next from a worldly standpoint. And so we struggle to choose what's next from a self standpoint. And my self-awareness was telling me that because I feel that level of uncertainty, I struggle in visualizing a year out from now. And so when I set my goals this year, I wanted to do it from a place that honored who I am and where I'm at in this season. For example, Brendon is remarkable at teaching morning routines. So good. I hear morning routines and I'm like, yes, that sounds amazing. I would love to sit down with a journal and a hot cup of tea and take in the view. But I am aware enough of the season of life that I'm in that right now I need more sleep than that morning slowdown. It's just not necessarily feasible where I'm at with 2 little kids. And so I might not be a morning routine person, but I am really good at boundaries. So when I set my goals, how can I set them in a way that honors the things that I'm good at, which are boundaries and microscopic movements forward, in honoring that like progress is progress, even if it's small.
Welcome to our time today. Today, I'm going to dig in. Something came to me immediately as I was about to start talking to you, and there's this thought. It's a thought about how my family truly operates language we actually use in our household. And here is the language to lead this bad boy conversation off. Here's what we tell our family. Truxes don't show up. Truxes show out. And if we're going to show up and show out, we must show up every day to our lives, the weight room, the food, all that. You'd be surprised. Our family does cold plunges in our pool in the backyard. Like, we get down. And I want to give this as a thought to you, because this year you cannot just show up. You got to show out. Like there's people that love you, that look up to you, that you are serving and showing up for, that need you to not just show up to life this year, but to show up and show out. So have that as an anchor as we kind of have this conversation. But with all the amazing things I could talk about, the idea today is like how to win the year. And it took me immediately back to this helmet you see in the background, because I used to play professional football, play college football, and winning was a thing. Like a humongous part of my entire world was, well, how do you win? And so I was like, what if we frame this today in the stance of like, it's a game, like a game, right, for the year. And so I said, I'm going to break this thing up. I quite literally have notes broken down of pregame, first quarter, second quarter, halftime, relax, bring it back, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, then overtime. We're going to talk through this today in that kind of manner. So if you're a football fan, awesome. If you're not, catch up, because I am. And if you love any sport, understand the concept of pregame quarters, you got it dialed. So let's start this whole thing with this idea of what January is in the game, the whole flow. And what I think January is, it's pregame sometimes, right? As much as we want to think about like I'm hitting the ground running January, typically it's that window of time post that weird like bubble, like Christmas and New Year's, and no one knows what to do with themselves. We just sit around like, I'm going to get things done. And all you do is drink and eat more. And you just hang out, right? Then the new year hits and we go, I'm going to get going. But it's usually a good time to think about what I'm going to do in the year. Now, we're doing this now. Some of you have sat down and figured out goals and aspirations, what's in it created, right? And it's that really good time. And so when I think about pregame, here's what I want you to talk about and think about realistically as we go forward into this. When we go into pregame as a team, what do we have? Like, what do we actually have? And the way I look at it is, well, first, I have a team, right? That's the first part to think about. If you're going to win a game, you got a team. So genuinely, you should take notes on this, by the way, and take them in the GrowthDay app because, hey, it's all there. You are the head coach. Let's put it that way. You're the head coach of the team of your life. And now every team that I've been on has different positions. We have coordinators, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, assistant coaches. We also have the team, the people that are on the field doing things with us. And a lot of us, we go, I'm going to go out and do this thing. And I believe I'm going to do it solo, self-made. And I have never won anything of great meaning in my life alone. Ever. I have an amazing team. I have an amazing family. And so here's how I want you to think about where people fit. You are the head coach. You have, we call an offensive coordinator. This is going to be if you have a business, you have someone in your family, it's going to be the person that is helping you go get the things that you want in life, right? I'm serious. This is going to be, could be your spouse, could be a colleague at work, could be your boss, it could be anything. But think about the person who, when you go and I want to go on the offensive this year, who is the person there helping you coordinate that? It could be a mentor, could be a coach, right? These are different people, but who's helped me go and take on and score points in this game of life this year? The other defensive coordinator is the key one. Who do I have in my background, in my corner when things go wrong and I got to step back up? Because you know as well as I do in the middle of the game, not every play goes my way, which means in the middle of those moments, who do I have to lean on? Because when we get into the space of having nobody, I'll pull back. And what ends up happening is I get tucked in that echo chamber of my head where I don't want to know or anybody to know what's going on. And I feel like I'm siloed. Brendon calls it the caged life, right? I get to that point of pulling back. You cannot get there. You have to start the year with someone you reach out to and go, hey, when I have this year going on, if things go awkward or crazy, I want to be able to lean on you. Can you be that? Just to be a person of vent to, right? So you have to have these people. Now, you also have essentially the assistant coaches, people that are around assisting the team, assisting the offensive and defensive coordinator. These are going to be friends, colleagues. Again, it's other people. Could be your kids, could be cousins. Doesn't matter who it is. It's people that are out there helping you, but they're not in the trenches with you. Key differentiation is they're not in the trenches with you. These are people that are all the outside support. It could be your CPA, your accountant, could be a personal trainer, right? These are people helping the team win, you being the team. The last portion are the people on the field. Who are the ones in the trenches with you? This is going to be clients you might work with. This is going to be people that are direct mentors and coaches helping you do the business. It could be, if it's not a business, it could just be colleagues that are, coworkers at work. Who is on the field with you getting things done? It's a humongous piece of the puzzle. So this little simple thing, I don't think we always think about. Like I have all these people in my life currently, and it's a beautiful thing because my life has run smooth because of this. But as we start the planning process, put these human beings in place in your life. Now, also for pregame, a couple of things we do is we have to determine what is a win. Now, we'll call it goal setting for now, right? But goal setting is a little bit different from the way I frame this. When I look at my life, there are goals, right? But it may not be the goal to say my goal of this game was to score 50 points on this team, right? Whatever it might be. Winning the game is still a win. It may not be that big, humongous thing we wanted, but it's still a win. So determine for yourself what's a win so everyone is on the same page, so we're all pulling in the same direction. The worst thing would be for the offensive and defensive coordinator to be on different pages. Hard to win a game that way, right? People in the trenches not knowing the direction we're going, hard to win a game that way. The idea is, what is a win to you? And it's your win, not what the world would respect, not what anybody else would deem a great thing, because sometimes people have visions that aren't your own. And when you try to fight for their vision, you don't feel like it's a good thing and you don't even enjoy the process, right? So figure out what's a win in your book. Huge. Now, the next thing, solidify the game plan. Before we go into the game in first quarter, I got to have a game plan. And when I talk about a game plan, I don't simply mean what's the game plan, bigger picture to win the game. Here's what you got to think about. I played football, which means we have individual plays. Individual plays for me in this world is a single day. What does your day look like? Like, what is the day you're going to go and play, right? I'm not talking about the big picture. We can have a big picture vision of what a win is, but now bring that back to what does my day look like? You should get yourself a high performance planner, take the whole quiz inside there, go through the whole process, right? If you need to, but know what your day looks like, because that's what we're going to track and adjust. It's hard to look at an entire week or an entire month as we go forward, but you've got to go, here is my game plan for a day. And the things within this day are leading us to get to the place where we have already deemed a win will be. Big piece. Now, what most people don't do, they give deadlines. And I like deadlines. I mean, it's no big deal to have a deadline, but I like action days. I want to start. So what you've got to do when it comes to again, this is pregame. When will I start the game? When's kickoff time? What does that day look like? And I'm serious, plan that day, because I want you to have control of the day, not fall into the day for some random reason, which means, when am I getting up? What's my routine look like that day? What am I doing so that you can close the day and go, I won that play. Hey, that was a win for that play. Got it done. Feel good. We're moving in the right direction. I may not have got 15 yards, but I got 5. I'm moving, right? That's the idea, is can we set that plan up and move forward with it?
So we are talking about winning the year. Winning the year. How many of you all already feel like you're winning? And if you don't, can you think about the last time you won something? When was the last time you won something? Like, just think about that. Embody that moment. Because I remembered very quickly as I was looking over my notes, I was like, oh, I got to start with this story. I was in Colorado teaching myself how to snowboard. No, not teaching myself. I had a tutor. But I was like, I want to start the new year doing something so random, so different, but most importantly, potentially starting with a fail. I have never snowboarded before. It is not easy, but I love that I allowed myself to try something new to start the year, because so often we only focus on doing things that are easy. So when is the last time you won something? For me, I love this game called Scattergories. Does anyone know the game Scattergories? Classic, classic. It is so good. Someone type it in the chat, and everyone get your life together. Go out and buy the board game, because it is better than Monopoly, better than chess and checkers. It is incredible. So I won a game of Scattergories with 4 of my friends when we were learning how to ski and snowboard in Colorado. And we did 8 games, and I won the best out of 8 games. And I won by about 4 points total. But oh my goodness, it was competitive. It was slightly toxic, but it was thrilling. There is something about winning that just pulls you into your best self. And let's be honest, the feeling of winning is up there with, can we be adults here? Are we adults? Just are we adults here? Because winning is up there with orgasms. Winning is the mental orgasm, okay? Let's be honest. So there are certain things I do to analyze, optimize, and catalyze my wins. I'll say that again. There are certain things that I do to help me analyze, optimize, and catalyze my wins. Now, I think of this quote by Mark Twain: history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So what does that mean? If you want to change your life in any way, if you want to have a different year, You've just simply got to do something different. A lot of us just hope and wish our way into change when we've really got to work for it. Okay, so my journey of entrepreneurship, many of you know the story, started 20 years ago when I was 11 years old on career day. And I've had so many seasons of loss and failure and confusion, which is why I can speak with so much clarity and conviction today. My goodness, it is the experience and the failure that gives you the wisdom and the depth. I'll say that again. It is the experience and the failure that gives you the wisdom and the depth. The people I look up to most likely failed more than others. If you want to be respected, be willing to fail publicly. Fail out loud. Allow yourself to try and fail and try again. I've had seasons of my life in my entrepreneurial journey where I made no money, but I had a lot of time. And then there were seasons where I made great money, but I had no time. Now I'm in a season where I'm like, balance, glow, balance. It is out there for you. So last year I took a step back and I took 4 months off to really figure out, how do I balance the two, money and time? And so every year, and you might hear that many people do this, a focus word or a word of the year or an intention for the year. My word of the year is freedom. I think freedom is at the root of all my joy and the catalyzer to an abundance mindset. Freedom is like my North Compass. It's my North Star. It's what I look at when I'm dictating my schedule and figuring out what I want to do with my life. And not just a word of the year, but I went even further. It was 11:45 p.m. I was in Colorado slopes. It was just a few minutes before midnight. And I was like, I need something deeper than just a word. Like, okay, yes, I want freedom in 2022, but something else. Think, Glow, think. And I'm with my friend. And I'm like, ask me questions. Talk to me about my purpose. Ask me things so that I just need to download thoughts. Ask me things. Like, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to do? How do you want to make people feel? And we're just yelling at each other. It was the most exciting and probably confusing conversation for a bystander. But what came out of that was the pursuit of possibility. The pursuit of possibility. I'd love for you all to write your words and phrases of the year in the chat and inspire the rest of the community. The pursuit of possibility. I want to show people what's possible by doing the otherwise impossible. Every time I take a step outside of my lane, every time I step outside of the box that people put me in, I love to show others what they can do too. It's not about me. Your life and your journey has nothing to do with you. You are a catalyst. You are a vessel. You are a mirror to your community to let them know what's possible for them. So the pursuit of possibility is all about mirroring the possibilities that others have in themselves. How many lives can I live? How many souls can I reach? How many lessons can I pass on? That's what's gonna really drive me forward. I'm going to shout some of you out. So Ray, you got delegate, Mark, intention, Nancy, appreciate, Raywin, Rain, sorry if I butchered your name, light, Ray is fun, Neha is focused, Nadia is peaceful, Faith is inspired, Jenny wants clarity, Beth wants to serve. This is amazing. I love this. And if you don't have your word yet, like just scroll through the chat and allow other people's intention to inspire you. Okay, beautiful.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.